Brand new REN. He gave us a little bit of a break, but he's back at it again with some more music. He has a Sick Boy album that's available for pre-order still, so make sure you pre-order that. If you haven't, it'd be cool to see him hit the top of those charts as much as possible. So without further ado, my name's Alan. I'm a sound engineer and a musician. Let's go ahead and check this out. I didn't even realize he played piano. I don't know if this is him playing piano. So I got the actual credits here for who's playing what. So the pianist is Charlie Wood Byrne. Excellent piano playing, man. Viola is Jordan. Violin is Dan Oates. Cello 1 is Alexandra Marshall. And cello 2 is Marion Porter Lance. So that is who is actually playing all the instruments in this song, and they did a fantastic job. Piano, but this is beautiful playing. Very well done, just flawless. Such a beautiful sound. Oh, that's so cool how it spin and you saw the reflection of the piano. It kind of like turned into it, divided the picture. I keep feeling we're going to get like a jump scare or something. I don't know. Now, something that's really cool about his voice right here is that we have like this almost vintage sound that's being EQ'd on his voice. And there is some EQs that can run your voice through to give it that vintage sound. So I'm curious if he's doing that. I feel like he is. It adds that little special coloration with his voice already. Definitely sounds like something like that. I love it. It's so fitting for this.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. 1 year old and his first words were mine, mine, gimme. 2 years old he was walking, 3 years old walking quickly. 4 years old he was running round the pavements of his city. 5 years old and his daddy told him, listen here son, you gotta learn to be a man. A man, he works for what he wants. 6 years old and he's reading, writing, top of the bunch. And when he's 7, his progression made him student number 1. 8 years old and he's praised for unusual grades. 9, his parents paid for private school to nurture the flame. 10, 11, 12, 13, he ascends and ascends. His daddy tells him, son, money is the means to all ends. 14, solving complex mathematical equations. At 15, IQ 150, still elevating. 16.
I really love this. This is so cool how they're just making the tempo go faster and faster as the song progresses. He's typing on the keyboard. You hear more on the keys going dun 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 as it's progressing. And then the way that he's keeping up with this steady incline of beats per minute is very impressive and very hard to stay on time also.
He develops complex software code that detects weaknesses in cybersecurity protocols. 17 and he sells his vision, keeping the share. Not yet an adult, but he's practically a millionaire. 18 and his daddy tells him, now you're a man. This world don't give a damn about you, so take all that you can. 19, he turns a profit, stocks and shares, invest in product. 20, double down deposits. 21, his income rockets. 22, he learns the truth is just an obstacle to wealth. If you manipulate the data, then the lie will sell itself. 23, a life of luxury, crystal and cocaine. 24, he makes the Forbes list, they're applauding his name. 25, and his daddy tells him, listen here, son.
The piano sounds good, so good right now. I love the fullness of it with his voice. I like how it's changing as he's going throughout the story. He's going up in age, it's getting more maniacal and stuff with the piano sounds. I feel like I hear a bass in there, like with the piano off to the left.
While you're sitting in that palace, that don't mean that you won. 26, a business shift, he switches business to arms. He's 27, dealing nuclear and shells in Iran. 28, inside the Senate, money bought him a seat. He's 29, a role of counsel in the president's suite. Now he's 30, his daddy says you're losing the race, you're just a servant to the king.
No, that's just like the bass notes of the piano, but the way that they're mixed is really fucking cool. I don't think I've heard anything like that. I wonder how he's doing that. I'm kind of baffled. I didn't separate the tracks on this one because I knew it was going to be one of those straightforward songs, but now I'm wishing I did so I can hear exactly what that is. But it sounds so different, so unique. Even the piano production is done really well, and it's fitting the story of the song.
Even in second place, 31, a big maneuver for his daddy's approval. Moving imports over borders from the exports out of Cuba. 32, moving grams, growing kilos to tons. He's 33.
Yeah, it's just the low end of it. Is just the low end of the piano. He's just EQ'd it differently, and it sounds really cool. I like it.
In warehouses with powder and guns. 34, turf war with nobody to stop it. Blind eye from the po-po inside of his pocket. $35, he gets the call. I'm sorry, son, but it's your father. Had a heart attack, I'm sorry, he's gone. 36, getting pissed up, abusing his product. 37, eyes glazed, disposition demonic. 38, with a prostitute, a moment of passion, heating up a silver spoon and then chasing the dragon. 39, getting reckless and hungry.
See, for me, what I'm getting out of this is just like making your sole purpose and your sole goal to be money oriented is not the way to go about things. And I definitely went down that route at one point in my life. So I was working for this company called Carl's Jr. And I had started off as an employee, and I was really good at it. And I moved up immediately. I just had gotten out of the military. My family at the time was really nervous about what I was going to do after the military because I was in love with playing music. I really loved playing music, but I was also good at this other thing, which was business. It was just something that I just naturally understood and got, and I liked the fact that there was something different every single day. That was my justification at the time. So I went into a fast food place and I worked, and I made it to a district manager, which was the highest level that I could be at this company. I couldn't go up any higher, and I'm grateful that I couldn't, and I'm so happy that the VPO at the time kind of stopped me from getting any further. And I did this at a relatively young age. By the time I was like 23, I was a DM. I was the youngest DM for the company. And my goal was just to make as much money as I can. And I was always like thirsting for like just make more. And I got promoted so fast that I was like always like, what's next? But what happened afterwards, I started getting depressed, started getting down. The other DM that I worked with, we started doing drugs, drinking. This is when my drinking shit first started. And it was... Looking back at it now, it's just crazy how it went down, and I got severely addicted eventually, obviously, and I did shrooms one day. I do not advocate doing this, and it kind of snapped me out of my alcoholism and drug use at that time, and I was back to kind of normal. Then I did shrooms again, and I went into work. while I was doing this. And I remember being stuck on the back line as a district manager, mind you. I'm on the back line and I'm sitting there making burgers. We had this line out the door, and the owner, Carl, yes, the Carl, this was the grandson and the son that took over the legacy of the company, and they had their own franchise. They walked in the door, and I was sitting there struggling, trying to get these orders out. I remember the whole time I'm like, man, I'm just part of the problem. I'm serving garbage, shit food to people. At one point, I felt like while I was there, I was like, man, I'm the reason why people are dying slowly, or not dying slowly, but just dying faster. And because I'm feeding them this shit, and I'm making money off of feeding them shit, even though I wasn't the person like sole responsible for it, but I was the one pushing this brand. And I all of a sudden just start breaking down while I was working. But I'm getting a little off topic, but on that day specifically, they came in and they completely left me hanging. There was a bunch of customers there, and they left me hanging and just walked away. And at that moment, I was just like, I quit. I just walked out. I walked out. I was in the middle of cooking. I just walked out. I mean, like, I literally lost my mind. And I just had this, like, awakening at that point of, like, what the fuck am I doing? I've always wanted to do music my entire life. Why the hell? Why the hell am I doing this? Like, what am I doing? This wasn't the goal. Like, where did I get lost? And a lot of it had to do with the drugs and alcohol. And I left, and unfortunately, it's been a struggle ever since then. You know, I'm still trying to do music, trying to do production. Had a studio at one point and ended up losing that studio. But I just keep going along with it. Luckily, I've sobered up this past, year now, and moving forward. And hopefully I can get back to, something where I can, and hopefully now I can get back to, like, the real thing that I wanted to do, which was create music and, share music with people and do stuff like this, what we're doing. And it was a crazy transition, because I went from, like, wanting all that money and stuff to I sold my house. I sold everything I owned. And then I moved into this trailer that I am in now. Yes, this is a green screen, if you guys didn't know. So yeah, all this green screen. Let's show you guys. And that's what I used so I could show the video. And I did that because obviously it's a trashed up trailer that I'm living out of. But it's one of those things that I'm just looking forward to playing music every day, and I'm much happier now that I'm sober and now that I can just play music and talk about music. And it's totally possible to make a great production out of something like this. This is where I wrote our song Phoenix, which was our last single. And I think it came out really good and well produced, even without a studio and all that stuff. So I do everything out of here. But I guess now I should put that green screen back up, because you guys won't be able to see the screen now. But I guess the point is, I'm much happier just being on the grind and working day to day to make enough money to do what I got to do to get through. I'm much happier doing that than working like 80-hour weeks at a fast food joint. Was my whole point. I know it's a long rant. I apologize. Let's get back to the video.
For power, Daddy's words are still driving him to kill and devour. Makes a move against the cartel, but the strategy's flawed. They retaliate and leave him in a hospital ward. A bullet buried in his vertebra and one in his leg. The doctor sighs and says, I don't think you'll be walking again.
Fuck. Yeah, just like that, it could happen, You wasted all your time chasing that dollar. It's so crazy relatable. I'm just like, dude, I almost lost my fucking arm. I still have nerve damage all through my arm because of my accident. That was my tipping point. But I could have ended up like in this story where I'm not walking anymore, you know, or be bitter, or fuck knows who knows what, you know. It's just insane. Insanely relatable, I should say.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. He was 40 and he cursed the words mine, mine, gimme. 41 he wasn't walking, 42 not walking quickly, 43 never running round the pavements of his city, 44 inside a palace with a mountain of gold. But those riches turn to rubble when perspective evolves. Weighing heavy on his conscience is the value of gold. Lamborghini for a life, trading money for souls. Jimmy followed the code inside the land of the free. Put your hand inside the cookie jar, take more than you need. And his example is exaggerated versions of me. And it's a version of him, and it's a version of she, and it's a version of you. There's no escaping the blame. The way we live is parasitic. Fuck the money and fame. Cut the music. This isn't entertainment. This is real life. The way we live is lunacy. Community, it declines. Hyperpolarized, always fighting, then we divide. Truth is less important than the money that we designed. Money's an invention. Politics from our invention. They all come from people's ideas. Did I mention? Border's an invention. Law and order fuel the tension. It leads to people killing each other. My solution? Everything is subject to change. We could build utopias if individuals were taught to use their brains. But if we teach kids in schools to always be sheep and put themselves before the herd if there's more money for me, then there's no future I see where the humans survive. We're parasites inside a petri dish with cannibal minds. Mold will grow upon the surface then consumes till it dies. And our fate could be the same without this story to the wise. "45, Jimmy comes home out of the rain, soaking wet upon a wheelchair, drinking again. He is everything he wants, he is fortune and fame. He's a fortunate fool with an unfortunate fate. With a 45 caliber aimed at his brain. 45 a fitting number cause his age is the same. Here's the words of his father, it's such a damn shame. Then he presses on the trigger of a money game.
Oh man. I feel like every one of these kind of REN songs is like a therapy session. Hope you all could understand what I was saying. Hopefully I wasn't mumbling too much. Just like every REN song just like leaves you with a lot to think about. And something that really resonated right now too at the end, it's like for me individually, I got to be careful too, even with the music thing, you know, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, you know. I like to entertain people. That's why I like doing music. I just like it. I like making people feel good, or I like helping people with music. So that's what I hope to do. But I can see how that could be easily lost through fame or money or something like that, you know. That's why I'm just very happy to just make enough to make a living, because I think that's perfect. That's all I got to say. I have more REN videos right here if you guys want to check them out. See you guys in the next one.